Okay, you want me to read the Bivens?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, hang on. Let me press start.
I'll mute myself.
Okay. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at tonight's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? This is also for notary, poll worker, school board member, anybody that has signed an oath to the de facto government. Just state your name, your position, and what state you're in. Second reading. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at tonight's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? This could be for anybody, including a notary, poll worker, school board member, committeeman, anybody that has signed an oath to the de facto government. Third and final reading. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at tonight's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? This includes anybody that swore an oath to the de facto government. Just state your name, position, and state that you're in. Okay, Glenn, mic's all yours.
Okay, well, welcome everybody tonight. This is a continuation of what we were talking about last week. I filed these into, let's see, how many federal cases have I got going on right now, or that I had going on? Into all of my federal cases that I filed. Let me just look. In Northern District of Texas, let me put it that way. I'm having to prepare a response to they're trying to get me named a vexatious litigant. So I'm preparing a response. Matter of fact, I was planning on going to an event today or yesterday, tomorrow actually, but I didn't because I'm not going to go now because I have to get this thing ready for Monday. And part of that response, I'm addressing all of my cases that I filed in the Northern District of Texas. I filed a bunch of them over the years, starting in 2008. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15 cases that I brought, including the most recent is the 15th. That I've filed, and actually some of them were filed in state court, and they got removed into federal court, and two of them were filed in state court, and they got removed into federal court. But there's a total of 15 cases, and so they're trying to name me a vexatious litigant. So I'm going to respond. and so we'll see. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we'll talk about what I actually file next week, because right now it's still, I'm trying to formulate the thing, and so we'll go through what I filed next week, because it'll have been filed. But I can tell you that I'm probably going to get a little belligerent. Okay. And we'll see what happens. Last time I got belligerent with the feds, the judge was so nice to me. I've never had a judge be so nice to me after that. I felt guilty. Anyways, so we'll see. That's all I can say. Anyways, I told him it was a case I filed in FedEx against FedEx. This was in 2012. And what happened is I filed it in state court. FedEx removed it in a federal court. I really didn't want it in federal court. So I told the judge, I said, I have nothing but contempt for you and your so-called court. Everything you do is brutum fulmen. Brutum fulmen means an empty noise in Latin, a judgment void upon his face. And I just dumped on him. And he came back, and he was so nice, I couldn't believe it. But he still dismissed my case. Said I said some untrue things. He didn't say what was untrue. I'll bet you there wasn't much that was untrue. But anyways, so I'm probably going to get belligerent in this one too. So we'll see. I think that's why they go and there was one judge that always got my cases before. He dismissed them, but he was always the one that got them. McBride, his name was McBride, and he's dead now. And then O'Connor started getting them all the time, and he's now the chief judge. So anyways, but I'm probably gonna get belligerent, and so we'll see. So we'll talk about it next week, about what I actually filed, because it's still up in the air. I'm preparing the document, but there's going to be a lot of changes. There's no use in talking about it until next week. Till it's filed, it's actually filed. And, I might have an answer, I might not. But anyways. So what we're going to talk about is what I filed into this case, all of my cases, 15 cases. Okay. I filed this right here, a demand for IRS 1099 series documents. It's really short and sweet. It's taken from Todd Dool's book, the book 2 on the private remedy series, the proper court appearance. So this is just basically taken out of there. And this was, we talked about this last week. This was a 3-step process that was used to, they got a bunch of information, and they used it to, there was I think they got a $2.8 million award when the IRS went and found out a bunch of stuff. They found out that there was a bond that was issued that was, so we'll see what this shakes out of the branches. I filed this into every one of my cases, my federal cases. I've also filed it into a few state cases. I haven't so far gotten any response yet, but I'm not sure that, we'll see, I don't know. So anyways, comes now demand it requiring the clerk/judge pursuant to 26 U.S.C. section 6103 H4 to produce all IRS 1099 series documents bearing SSN TIN for GlennWinningham firm related to this matter, including but not limited to 1099A, 1099 INT, and 1099 OID filings. And that's it. That's all I say. And one of the things I say in here is I, GlennWinningham, House of Fern, natural man living in the Republic that fails to be dead or lost at sea, has never been dead or lost at sea, fails to be a surety or accommodation party. I'm rubbing that judge's nose in this shit, okay? Because they sit there and think they want to pretend I'm fucking dead or lost at sea, or assume I'm going to be a surety or accommodation party for their minor estate. Fails to be a surety or accommodation party for the Pope's minor estate. Fails to represent the Pope's minor estate. Have never knowingly or willfully represented the Pope's minor estate, and do declare that I scribed and read the foregoing, anyways, and then I sign it. Fails to be dead or lost at sea. Has never been dead or lost at sea. Fails to be a surety for the Pope's minor estate. Fails to be represent the Pope's minor estate. You know, I just really rub this in their nose. Certificate of service. Without the Pope's United States, here certified that I'm not a U.S. District of Columbia citizen, 14th Amendment citizen, Pope's United States District of Columbia, or other fictitious entity. I'm not a surety or accommodation party for the Pope's minor estate. I'm not dead or lost at sea. I've never been dead or lost at sea. I'm not representing the Pope's minor estate. Anyways, I just say this again and again. This is a certificate of service, so I filed the original and copy this demand for an original of the certificate of service on this day with the court. We haven't served this lawsuit on anybody yet, so there's no use, and there's nobody else to give it to. And the court is really who I want to respond anyways. And again, I signed the certificate of service. Fails to be dead or lost at sea. Has never been dead or lost at sea. Fails to be surety or for the Pope's minor estate. Fails to be representing the Pope's minor estate. Just rubbing their nose in this big time. Anyways, that's it. It's a 3-page document, and I filed it into 15 different cases in federal court today. It was all done today. He didn't have any trouble at all. I took it down there. I had, matter of fact, what I'd done is I had planned on filing it on the 12th, which was Monday, and I never got it done. And so I had to initial the changes on the date. And here's the filing stamp right here. So now my plan B, I want to see if this shakes anything out of the bushes. The plan B is, and I'll show you what my plan B, it's basically taken from Todd's book. It's actually in the book 2, and it's a motion to compel production of tax documents. That's my plan B. So I would highly recommend you get those 5 books for $100. You can't beat the price, okay? I mean, a lot of people don't have $100, and I understand that, but there's a lot of people that sell this stuff for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, and this is $100 for 5 books that are going to give you some really good information. And number 2, there's no silver bullet. Okay, you got to keep this in mind, and so you got to be thinking outside the box, and how you can. If one of these forums works for me, then chances are word is going to go all over the place, and it won't work for anybody else. So then you're going to have to start coming up with other things. Okay, hit them with something different, and so be thinking outside the box. I'll be glad to share anything that I find, and I'll trumpet it from the housetops, because matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This response to this vexatious litigant motion, I'm going to send it to Trump is what I'm going to do, because I'm going to get belligerent, and I want him to see it. Okay, I want him to see what I'm saying. I'll tell you, he'll probably come out on TV and talk about it. I bet you he does. He did in the past when I would send him one of a copy of a nastygram that I sent to a chief of police or something like that. You know, he'd come out. I sent a nastygram to Kirstjen Nielsen, okay, who was former Secretary of Homeland Security that he appointed. And I sent a nastygram to her, and I sent him a copy, and he came out and started bad-mouthing Kirstjen Nielsen, and eventually he fired her ass. So I'm telling you, he reads this stuff. So anyways, I'm planning on sending Trump a copy. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to send it by, I'm not going to send it by priority mail. I'll probably send it by express mail. I'll probably pay $35 or whatever it is to get it sent there pronto so he gets it quick, because I want him to bring some heat down on these motherfuckers, and so over this vexatious litigant crap. It's nothing but a bunch of crap, is what it is. Anyways, so and we're kind of splitting things. I'm just kind of talking all over the place right now. I got to try and keep it focused, because that was what I was talking about originally, about the vexatious litigant. I'm going to send Trump a copy, and if I come up with anything on this, I can guarantee you I'm going to send a Trump copy, because that's what's going on with him. That's why they went and sued him, and they went and got that huge fucking judgment, and they were planning on throwing his ass in jail. It's because they forged his signature to some 1099s. Okay, I guarantee you that's what they did. And if I got evidence that they did it to me, he's going to see it, and then he can go after him. And there's nothing better than having him go after him, because he's got resources that none of us can even come close to, and he can put a stop to that shit. And so, and I think he will. I think he would in a heartbeat. Look what they did to him. Anyways, so when he finds out what they did, he is going to break it off in their ass. And so he needs to know. But we need to I need evidence. If I have evidence that they're doing it to me and I send it to him, then he's going to know that they're doing it to him too. So it's going to be. So this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it rustles, some stuff falls out of the tree, lands in my lap. It's amazing. I'm telling you, things just land in my lap all the time. So we'll see. All I need is some evidence. What I'm expecting is that there'll be a 1099 that'll land in my lap, and it'll show that they went and forged my signature onto a 1099, and there's a bond out there for $50,000 or something like that. And that's perfect, okay? Because what I'll do is I'll do a Form 211 whistleblower form. That's forgery. That's aggravated identity theft. That's embezzlement. That's tax evasion, okay? Because they didn't pay any taxes on it, I can guarantee you. And the IRS, those IRS agents get paid commissions, okay? And so when they see that shit, they're gonna go after that like a bloodhound, because they get a commission, okay? And I'll get a commission too on whatever. Remember, with in that Todd document that we talked about here last week, that one guy got $2.8 million, which was what, 22% of the tax that they collected, okay? Well, the IRS agent gets 5%, okay? So if they collected $2.8 million and that was 22%, that means they probably collected about $5 million or $6 million, say $6 million, and the IRS gets 5%. That's his commission for all of that. And so 5% of $6 million is, 1% is $60,000. So that's $300,000. That's worth an IRS agent's trouble to go and hunt down and figure out what's going on. You see what I'm saying? You're starting to get the picture here, boys and girls. Those IRS agents work on a commission. They do, for sure. and so the bigger the thing, I think the commission, it's a sliding commission scale, but I'm not sure. But no matter what it is, it's going to be worth it for that IRS agent. When they see, when the dollar signs are going to pop up in front of that IRS agent, and he's going to, you just give them a little bit of evidence, and they're going to take the ball and run with it, and they'll do the work for you. And so, that's all you need. You need to just get some evidence. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. And this is only one. And so you got to start thinking outside the box on how you can get the evidence. And because that shit's going on, okay? That shit is definitely going on. It's all over the place. And they're populating the prisons. The prisons are populated because of it. These people are Satanists. They're diabolically evil. don't get me going. You're going to get me going now. And so, you know, I just can't stress enough. We got to use the tools that we have against them, and we can do some wonderful things. And this will be good for everybody. And if we can send it to Trump and show him what's going on, he'll see that that's what's going on with him too. And so, you know, it's going to be good for everybody. Put a stop to this stuff. So, anyways, that's my plan B, is right here in this Todd Duell book. I would highly recommend you ordering his book for $97. It was very, very good to get. Have my own copy, and you can use it as a source for all sorts of information and ideas. And think outside the box, okay? When you start seeing some of that stuff and you start looking at some of those codes, you know, there's all sorts of stuff in there that you can use. Not just his forms. You make a change to it. Use a different form or something else. You know, because if something works, you know, chances are it won't work the next time. And so you got to start thinking outside the box. Try it, and hopefully it does work. But don't, you know, if it doesn't, you know, don't let that slow you down. You know, try something else. That shit is going on, and we can all we have to do is shake something out of the bushes, and get some evidence, and then do a whistleblower form with IRS. And once you have that, then they have resources that we can't even touch. But you get some evidence that tells them that this stuff is going on, and there's a commission in there for you there, Mr. IRS agent. Then all of a sudden there's motivation there. But so anybody have any questions?
As long as you're sending a form in, there's a DC form 4A, D4A, DC form D4 alpha.
I've never heard of that.
Certificate of non-residence in the District of Columbia.
Okay.
Might as well just rebut it right there in DC that you're not a resident of the district.
DC form 4A, eh? Well, that's good.
D-4A.
Okay, well, that's good. D-4A. That's a good one. That's a really good one. And you just Google that?
And I would use the rural route. I would use the rural route address, not the mail delivery address.
Right.
So we're outside the United States mail. We don't want to be using United States mail to say we're not living in the District of United States.
I like it. I think I'm going to download that one. That came right up with a Google search. That's 2018. Is that the latest one?
And I find, I don't know what they could change. It's so simple.
Oh, it is very simple. I mean, yeah. I mean, the form and the instructions is one page altogether. Yeah.
Rural route. I think the rural route style of addressing where we're at out here through the carrier mail, not through the mails of the United States, I think that's a key issue. Because I can't say I'm not a United States citizen, but yet using United States formatting for mailing, you know.
Says country or U.S. Commonwealth.
What was that?
As it says on here under the that D4A, it says city, state. So you could be living in another state, zip +4, country, or U.S. Commonwealth. So you could put yourself in the minor outlying islands or something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, this just creates all sorts of possibilities. Good idea. Anybody got anything else?
Glenn, congratulations for filing that in 15 cases. That's pretty awesome. What was the name of that book series again? I'm sorry. I didn't get it the first time or last week. I apologize.
It's on my page in WeRLaw, and
Okay, cool. Thank you.
it's the Commoner Law Group. There's a series of books that they publish that are basically taken from Todd Duell's material. There's also links to Todd's videos. I would highly recommend you watch Todd's videos. That'll give you an idea. He goes through a lot of stuff verbally anyways. But then when you watch his videos in conjunction with reading those books, it's just a wealth of information, and gives you all sorts of ideas on how to deal with that stuff.
I've been seeing some of his work coming up, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been listening to some of his stuff as it is recently. So thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and if we can start kicking their butt around the block. I mean, this I think is the silver bullet, quite frankly. But they're not going to just roll over. This is that's what they're doing. They're clearly doing this. I've known they've been doing this for decades. But how can you call a judge a liar? Well, now I see that you can call a judge a liar. And so now I know how to call a judge a liar. And because that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. I know they've been doing this shit for decades. I just didn't know how to deal with it. And so now I'm going to call them a liar. I know I can and how to do it.
Do you know about Queen's class? I mean, I'm just saying, that's another way to handle these matters too. And then having someone else actually kind of go in for you. That's also another way too to take care of some of this. But I don't know about your particular cases in particular, but I think it works for most. But if you haven't, she's got some information posted. I'm sure she'll tell you all about it. But I don't know if she's having any more classes. That's just it. But she does do a course too on how to take care of some of this business with these nasty courts, these full of shit courts that are out here. They're crazy. They think too highly of themselves. But anyway, I think what you're doing is awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have taken Queen's class, and I have filed criminal complaints, and I filed a bunch of criminal complaints into my last lawsuit, and the judge unfiled them. And so why I like what Queen's doing.
Man, you are awesome, dude. That's why I look to you with great respect. Thank you so much, brother.
So, anyways, it's Queen has great material, and but sometimes you gotta do something else. Just because it gets unfiled doesn't mean you just roll over and say, "Oh, I guess I lost." No, hell no.
That's one reason.
You get back up.
I respect you so much.
You get back up. I'm going to have to mute you there, buddy. But what you do is you just get back up. You pull yourself together. You figure out what went on, and you hit them back again. Okay, you don't just roll over. You can't just roll over. It's not over till you say it's over. And so it's only one resource. Anyways. Yeah, Queen's got some great material, and it can be very useful. It didn't work for me in that one case. I think it's worked in other cases. I filed criminal complaints into a Dallas case, and the judge sent me an order of deficiency and told me I had to file a lawsuit. So it worked in that case, but the judge didn't like the lawsuit, and so it got dismissed because I didn't pay the filing fee, and that's why they want to name me a vexatious litigant, because I keep filing these lawsuits, and I don't pay the filing fee. So I'm gonna rip them a new one over that. So anyway, so we'll see next week. I'll go through what I file, because I got to tell you, I'm going to get belligerent over that one, and I'm going to rip them a new butthole. And so we'll see. It's amazing what you can get away with if you do it the right way. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it the right way. I might go overboard, and who knows what'll happen. But I can tell you that I'm gonna get belligerent on this. I'll tell you. So we'll see what I say. Anyways, next week we'll go through it, and we can talk about it. But back to Todd's material. This is great material. This is my plan B that I'm showing right here. That's actually found in the book. That one of 5 books that I bought for less than $100. And so it's a wealth of information. There's a huge amount of information between the books and Todd's videos. They're just a wealth of information. It's a very, very good value, and I would highly recommend it. And I only show it here. This is what I'm planning on doing next. I'm not making the books available. They're not that expensive. They make you promise not to give them away to anybody, anyways, and that's not right. They're not charging an overly expensive price. If they were charging, $1,000 for 5 books, then I might, give them to people, some discreet way. But this is $100. There's all sorts of ideas. People that can't afford the $100. Well, you're going to see how to do it here, and start thinking outside the box. Know that it goes on. Watch his videos. Even if you can't afford the $100, you can glean a lot of information from those videos, and then from the stuff that we do talk about in these various groups. I know Big Blue Ocean has some amazing material, there's other people that have on this group that have some amazing material. There's a forensic accountant. If you can afford to pay for the forensic, get him to come up with stuff, then that's even better. I'm not saying, I don't know. I haven't even talked to him about what his costs are. And somebody said something about ordering QSIP numbers. But I'd like to get not the QSIP numbers. We're getting our QSIP numbers on the court cases. And what I really want is a 1099, because that'll have a QSIP number on it, and it'll have a bond number, and it'll have a lot more directly relevant information to a case, to my case, that we'll be able to use with the IRS to blow the whistle on the bastards. Anyways, so it's a networking thing. I'll be glad to share whatever does work, and any information that I get. But this is stuff that Todd has recommended, and I think that it's great stuff. You gotta enforce it. Enforce their codes on them, and so I can tell you right now that if I fill out a Form 211, he actually has a Form 211, sample Form 211 in here. Let's see where it is here. Here's a subpoena to ducis tecum to the bank. You got to find out who their bank is. This is all in that book too. Here's the form whistleblower, Form 211. False returns by court officials, judges, trustee violations, fraudulent filings, 1090, and use the evidence. Okay, you attach your evidence, and then you just make it under penalty of perjury. Use their own form. I mean, this is brilliant stuff. And I got to step aside for a second. I'll be right back. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be ready to take questions when I get back.
So pretty much in that video, I think Todd said that you just ask for the accounting. When they don't give it to you, you have to ask for dismissal because they can't. You can't. There's no relief that can be granted because they won't produce the accounting. And then you go after them for the 1099-A that they filed that you didn't know about. They signed their name for it. I sent it to a lot of. I think I put it in the group here. I think I put it under taxes though instead of. I usually always put a video in the rants, but I think I put the under taxes on accident. So I think it's Todd Dole's. It says traffic case. I think it's driving case or something on it. So you wouldn't really click on it if you weren't really like looking for driving information or tickets or whatever. But he says a lot in this video. He said a lot in the other one that Shotty shared a couple weeks ago, but he said a lot in this video too. So pretty much don't make a plea. Don't plead no contest, guilty or not guilty until you receive the accounting for the case. And they won't produce it because they used your appearance bond for their bond or whatever. Anyway, they used your shit and they filed a 1099-A on it, so they won't produce the accounting for you, so there's no relief that can be granted. So you ask for dismissal. When can we let Brian talk now? Or? No? It was a little jabber jabberish.
What's that? I'm back.
I was just asking if we could let Brian talk. He's muted. Go ahead, honey. I'm sorry.
Brian? Who's Brian? Shady Rose?
Oh, he might have left.
Okay, well, there was one guy that kept interrupting, and I muted him, so I don't know what happened.
That was Brian. That was him. Sorry, I didn't know who muted him.
Yeah, well...
Go ahead, I don't want to interrupt you, honey.
Anyways, does anybody have any more questions? I think that's about all I wanted to cover today.
Glenn, when you're done, check your private messages, please.
Okay. Is that about it today for everybody? Does anybody else have any questions?
You want an anecdote about that rural route address and what it does?
Well, any rural route address is not in the District of Columbia.
You get a friend of mine got a confirmation by doing the National Creditors Registry at the bankruptcy court, and he used the rural route address format, and he sent in the PDF that you have to print out and email with your notarized and send it off to the bankruptcy court. I heard back right away. My account was set up using a normal address. There's a more normal delivery address, delivering ordinance, of course. He waited 2 weeks and contacted the email and asked them about his BNC application, and the clerk of the bankruptcy court wrote back and says, "Oh, I see what the problem is. We do not accept foreign addresses." She called the rural route address a foreign address.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
So all these people getting their international estates, what's it called, the 98 EIN Foreign Grantor Trust, and they go to Jamaica or some of these other third world shithole that I would never go to. We have a foreign address right now, the rural route address.
Well, it's all it has to be is foreign to the District of Columbia.
The rural route, the bankruptcy, U.S. bankruptcy court says the rural route is foreign to the United States. Yeah.
That's right, which is the District of Columbia. That's right. Okay, well, I guess that's about it. I guess we'll sign off for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about what I filed as a response to their vexatious litigant claims. And we'll take it from there. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, same channel.
Thank you. Have a good night.
See you next week.